Hello and welcome back to N2 the Chatterverse, where two gents share their 2 cents on pop media. I am Victor Dandridge, the hardest working man in comics.
And I'm Bill, and my partner changed the color blue on me.
I did. Did you like that one? Is that
I do like that one.
Okay, good.
In fact, you're going to have to get me other things to put up because the blue is...
Yes, I wanted to make sure that you liked that one before I put up a new overlay for it.
I don't know what it is about that blue. It's just not it doesn't work for me.
Okay.
But the darker blue definitely works for me.
I was thinking about actually lightening up the yellow on the title card because of the darker blue, but we'll see about that.
Okay.
But yeah, little cosmetic things, but things to make you guys enjoy what we do that much better. We are here to talk about the live action release from DreamWorks, How to Train Your Dragon, and what's amazing for the last 3 months
It's been like 10 weeks since we watched this movie. Literally 10 weeks.
Literally, because we saw it at CinemaCon, and first of all, let me tell you, like, I have been the bane of my children's existence because they're like, I can't wait for that movie. And I'm like, I've seen it, and they're like, we know, Dad. And I'm like, I'm just saying, like, I've seen it already. I don't. Well, you want to know about it? And they're like, no, don't spoil it. I'm like, are you sure? Because I can tell you stuff.
Yeah.
Not that I remembered everything, but so it drops this past weekend. Pretty good opening.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to live action movies, though, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of this live action new iteration of movies that Disney kind of started.
Yeah.
This one was good though. We both enjoyed watching it the initial time, but you hadn't seen.
I hadn't seen the original.
stuff.
No.
You saw that on a flight back home
Right.
from CinemaCon. To you, was there much of a difference from what you remember between the two?
No, outside of the first 15 minutes, which I think is shot-by-shot remake, I think there was enough subtle changes in everything where I felt the live action worked better.
Okay.
And you can say whatever you want about changing the skin color of someone. I don't really care about that. Yeah, no. I actually like the girl better in the live action version because. Not to sound, against animation, she was less two-dimensional. Though movies are two-dimensional anyway,
yes,
so it doesn't really matter.
But I did like how to that point, they kind of brought it in to the storyline that this was a group of Vikings that was made up of other cultures. Like, it was just a bunch of people that got together kind of because of the dragons. And it was like, that works. It's not
even like in the original...
Yeah.
Dad's got a thick accent, and the son doesn't. And the son just sounds like, any schmo from, I have to say Canada because that's where Jay Baruchel's from. But yeah, I just, I felt this worked.
Yes.
My biggest problems were that it was written and directed like animation.
Okay, so to that, is there, what do you say is the problem with that part? Because I think that's a very interesting sort of designation to recognize that there's a difference between how those types of movies are made from
there are things that you can get away in animation that you can't get away with in live action versions. Okay. And there are certain guffaw looks that work in animation that don't really work live action.
Somebody made that face for you. You're like, are you having a stroke?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? Yeah. I can totally see that. Were there any, outside of Hiccup and Toothless, were there any characters that stood out to you that were just kind of fun to see who it was? It took me a minute to realize it was Nick Frost that was the trainer. And I don't know why. It's not that he looks so different, but I did not immediately register that that's who that was.
I think it took me a few minutes to figure out that it was Nick Frost, and I did like that character.
He was fun.
Yeah. I don't know that anyone else really stood out.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I just, I enjoyed it. I wasn't really looking in too deep into the story of it and all, which was fine. But it was overall enjoyable.
It was.
Yeah.
It definitely was. I'm impressed with its opening numbers. It did just shy of 85 million here in the States domestically, 113 million internationally. So literally just shy of 200 million as an opening weekend. That's not bad.
No, I think that's really good. I mean, you're looking at those numbers, and these are the numbers that you want to open up to.
Right.
Now, the telling on these numbers is when, the next weekend, if it has that 57% drop, that's fine.
Right.
But if you go above 60%, then that's worrisome.
Right, because that means the word of mouth is not strong. It's not people not talking about it very well.
And you're not getting the repeat business.
True.
You're not getting those people that I really want to see this again when they don't.
Right. Now, considering that this is the first opening salvo from DreamWorks in this regard, which as I understand the storyline going, DreamWorks was kind of a clapback at Disney. That one of the original founders, along with Steven Spielberg, was one of the key directors of some of the best late 80s, early 90s Disney movies. And when he wanted, I guess, higher residuals or royalties or something, they were like, no. And he left, and then him and Steven Spielberg and somebody else started DreamWorks. So is this kind of...
You're talking about Katzenberg?
Yes.
Because Geffen is the other one.
Yes.
So it's DreamWorks SKG.
That's what that stands for. Okay. I never knew that. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Is this a attack at Disney? I mean, for a first time out, I think Disney's first live action... No, they don't have to do the quotes on that one because that one really was live action as The Jungle Book. Now... I thought
because
that was
one character was live.
It's true.
I totally agree with that.
Yes,
where you're saying that it's a live action.
It is a live action
because The Lion King is
not
animated.
Come on,
it's not hand drawn animated, but it's still computer animated.
Yes, it is a step beyond what Pixar would do,
right,
in terms of its rendering, not live action. But yeah, with this being kind of like a choice from DreamWorks to start it off, I think there's a really clear sort of statement. They're still competing with Disney, and I think that's a smart thing for them to make that claim, especially as Disney's like live action presentations have had mixed results in terms of people liking them. I guess Mufasa did well. I tried to watch it. I fell asleep. I was just tired. I'm not saying that the movie wasn't good, but I won't watch The Lion King. I don't want to. I just don't.
I watched it. I don't remember it.
Fair. I think that's a very fair statement.
And with Little Mermaid being my favorite Disney animated movie, I watched that one, and I had no problem with the casting and everything. Mm-hmm. I had a problem with the music.
Man,
I felt that they lost it on a lot of the choruses.
Yes.
Because it wasn't like everyone singing at one time.
Yes.
It was just like a couple people, and I'm like, this is what's missing from this.
You had solo voices, and they are great singers because we've seen them in other things.
Yes,
but they did miss the choral, like literal choral aspect of it.
I think if I watched that one without having seen the other one for the first time, I'd have been like, oh, it's okay.
This is good.
Yeah. But and then I watched the animated one. I'm like, okay, they
so
screwed that up big time.
Yeah, I mean, From Under the Sea, "Kiss the Girl" is a great song. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely agree with that one. What is another DreamWorks animated feature that you think might get considered for live action? Are there any specific ones that you hope that they don't do?
I have no idea.
Okay. I mean, my biggest fear is that they would look at this and go, Kung Fu Panda's next. As I would argue, in the order of things, their next biggest, not with another work already coming out project. Because obviously Shrek is going to be big. But they already have a Shrek 5 coming. Yeah. So Kung Fu Panda is the one that I would go, and now
I don't think you can do Kung Fu Panda.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you could come. The fact is, they're still doing those, aren't they?
I mean, they had the fourth one a year.
Yeah,
ago,
so I think you're not far enough removed from that to do it.
Okay.
And it's, obviously with Shrek coming back out, and is Despicable Me them too? I can't even remember.
That might be.
But I think that if you don't actually have humans in it,
you should not do live action.
Yeah, if you want to remake it in computer animation,
right?
That's fine. But because they're trying it with everything, and I'm okay with that. But realize that you're not going to hit on everything.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I saw a TikTok that I'm going to bring to you, as this is now a huge trend where they're taking these animated features and turning them into live action. What is a live action movie series, franchise, whatever, that you think would do well as an animated feature?
I want to say Star Wars, but I'm not going to say Star Wars.
I feel like that's cheating because it's got some animation.
Yeah. You can't say anything Warner Brothers. You can't say anything so you can't say DC or Marvel because they're already doing that.
Yep.
Probably Alien Predator.
Which is funny because I was so going to say that, and you haven't seen Killer of Killers yet.
No.
Once you see that one, we are going to have to talk about it. Because one of the first ones that I have to like bring to you as your considerations, whether or not it's an anthology or not. John Paul and I, we had a whole long discussion about whether or not it was an anthology. And
don't tell me who was on what side.
I won't tell you. But we had a long discussion of whether or not it was. And the ramifications of if.
This is a movie, right?
It is a movie.
Okay.
It is a movie. Yes.
I was gonna say because I don't remember it being a series.
It's not episodic. It is definitely one movie. So yeah, and that's all I'll say.
Okay.
But I do agree with that. Like there is something very cool about seeing this like characterization and I think that's also the weird part is Predator as a series is so very undefined. Do we know what they're called beyond Predators? Do they have a name?
I don't think so.
I don't think they do either.
I don't think I've seen anything that like I don't think anyone's ever called them anything on screen.
Right. Which I think is so fascinating
of
a thing. Because obviously, like with aliens, there's xenomorphs. That term has been coined. We know it. I don't know what they call them other than predators. But to see that was so very cool. And it ramps up the key factor that makes Predator interesting, which is the violence. And there was something very cool about the idea of they could go all out and they don't have to worry about someone actually dying from the things that they do to them. Mm-hmm. And it was very, very cool.
Did this take place on Earth?
That's telling, and I will not do that.
Okay.
To you. Yes. I won't spoil that. But yeah, no, I think Predator would be a great one. I think Alien could be very interesting. I'm trying to think of like.
Well, they can do more. Well, okay, I take that back. Okay. It's not that they can do more with it because they could actually like animate the original series.
Oh.
If they really wanted to, since it's already storyboarded
That's
out
true.
And everything. And I think they were handcuffed by that a little bit because they did kind of do that in Alien 3, where the alien that, the facehugger that got the dog,
right?
The alien kind of did act like a dog
a little bit,
and they alluded to that, but.
Right.
You haven't seen anything
since it shows anything else like that. No, I agree. I think I would like to see something kind of classic 80s movies that would take that stance. So like I would like an animated Short Circuit because I think Short Circuit is one that obviously there's cultural things that now we were like, you can't do that, which I understand. Like I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, but I get it. But I think the character of Johnny Five would be very interesting for a modern audience. The idea of here's machinery that gains sentience that is not of the Terminator ilk. It's not, it's something very silly and fun. And how many kids would look at it and go, oh, it's WALL-E. Like, I'm really curious as to how that would happen.
Okay, so now I have I did have an initial reaction. Yeah. I have an animated movie in mind to make.
Let's go.
Live action. Let me see if you can guess it.
Okay.
Just try to guess.
Try to guess.
Yep.
I don't get any parameters whatsoever.
Okay. Well, let's put it this way: it's not a Disney. It's not a DreamWorks.
It's not Disney. It's not DreamWorks. Live action. Give me a genre because that's a lot. I mean, there's a lot that I could pull. Is it sci-fi? Are we talking?
Yes.
It is sci-fi. Okay.
And you'll get a guess if you don't.
And it does not have an animated component already.
What do you mean?
So like, eliminate the Matrix because you got Animatrix.
No. An animated movie could go live action.
Ooh, animated movie to go live action. The Incredibles.
It's not Disney.
Oh, you did say that. Damn it. Yeah. That does count.
And they're making that. It's called the Fantastic Four.
That's so fair. Ooh, I don't know. Give me another hint.
I had a hint in mind, and now I don't have it.
Oh. When did it come out?
That within the last 25 years.
Okay. And it's an animated feature, came out within the last 25 years, and whether or not they should do a live action.
Your only hint is the Cold War.
Is the Cold War?
Yep. And when I tell you what it is...
Oh, I'm about to be upset.
Yes. Because you don't... That's the subtle part
of what this is.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Actually, that wasn't my...
That wasn't
hint.
it? Okay.
The most underrated animated movie of all time.
Titan AE. I don't know.
The Iron Giant.
Oh my god. Oh my god. That's not DreamWorks?
It's Warner Brothers.
Is it? Oh, of course it is because it mentioned Superman.
Superman.
That's right. Oh. You're 1,000,000% right.
I know.
Oh my
I know.
God.
You know how I know that? I came up with it. That's how I know.
Listen. You know, I'm going to double down on how right you are because that was one of the best parts of Ready Player One for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, It didn't have anything to do with the story, but that was you are absolutely right. That is, dang, that'd be a really good one. Okay, Warner Brothers, like the ball's in your court.
Yeah.
Like,
it's there.
Do it.
It's there for the doing.
That's a good one. Oh, man. Oh, I like that. Okay. All right. And again, like, I think that's another great, animation, a live action adaptation, because that could be a lot of fun. You already have the framework for it because Steven Spielberg did it. Another one that I would go, it's live action now, and it could use a animated redo.
Mm-hmm.
Flight of the Navigator. I think that movie would be very good as an animated feature because there's so much more that you could do. And I know a lot of people be like, well, let's just remake it because we've got better technology. Yes, you do. But with animation, I think you would actually approach the story differently than just, now we have better graphics.
Yeah.
And I think that would be amazing. Like if you took Fly the Navigator but gave it like an Into the Spider-Verse animation style, like that would be insane and it would be awesome and like everything would be amazing about that. So those are like my top picks for movies that are live action that should be made into animated remakes because I think it would be fun. And I think that's really what this movie kind of captures is an essence of fun that people forgot.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily about like, it's going to be a huge franchise. Like, are you just enjoying yourself? Can you just sit there and watch, Hiccup fly on Toothless's back? I think we can. It was a good time.
Yeah, I like I said, I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
But I also think that if they didn't force us to watch it, I would have watched it.
That's also fair. We were assigned to watch this one. And I mean, good job because it wasn't something that we hated. We didn't walk out like burn this place down. But yes, you're absolutely right. I'm not a huge fan of the cartoon franchise, not the movies, not the TV shows. So it wasn't something I was rushing to see.
Right.
I did have to interject because it was being framed as we're gonna go see this movie on Sunday as a Father's Day gift. I'm like, don't do that. That's not a gift to me. Please don't do that.
That was funny because that's exactly what I said Sunday. Was that Father's Day has nothing to do with Dad
at all?
It's like
at all.
What movie do you want to go see? It's going to be How to Train Your Dragon.
Yes,
regardless of whether or not Dad wants to see it.
Because it's now, a father-son story.
If it was actually Father's Day,
right?
Then it would be mom's taking the kids to go see this movie.
That's a good one. I definitely interjected and took my daughter to see it Thursday. It was like, we're not doing that for Father's Day. That's not happening. But yeah, this was a pretty good movie. Again, I want to keep eyes on it, see what it does in the next weekend. And good for DreamWorks, man. I like how they are approaching storytelling and they are challenging the monolith that is Disney, which I think is really smart. So,
well, I don't know if they're necessarily challenging them, but they're following their footprint.
You don't think that they were a challenge to begin with?
No, I don't know if challenge is the word that I would use.
I got you.
I just don't think that they, behind the scenes, they're probably like, we're going to do better in Disney. Right. Which, that's hard to do.
That's a bold statement.
But I think if you pick the right content, then you're good to go. I just don't think that everything needs to be
remake
live
like
action.
that.
Yeah, like do we really need Dumbo and Snow White?
No.
Cinderella?
Not at all.
I was like, eh.
Not at all. Yeah. At least like with Maleficent, it's a different character focus, which I can appreciate that. It's like we didn't focus on.
Well, it's in the same vein as Wicked.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly like that, which is pretty dope.
Which I'm okay with prequels.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's more than fine.
Unless it's Rogue One.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another episode of N2 the Chatterverse. Once again, I am Victor Dandridge, the hardest working man in comics.
I'm Bill, and yes, I hate Rogue One.
Same.